All right, cool. Welcome. This is
Thank you.
you're welcome. Network effects. So, what are they? Network effect is when another user makes the service more valuable for every other user. So once your company gets ahead, users won't find as much value in your competitors' smaller networks. So what do we mean? Mean that the more users that you get in your business or your service, it just makes it more valuable and more people join and more people join and everyone wants to be associated with that business. And what does it mean for your competition? It means their impact gets smaller. That's why you find you usually have 4 or 5 big entities in any one market. So if we just break this down to a simple format, look at the telephone, right? When you have 2 phones, you have 1 interaction. You add 3 more phones, you get 5 phones. You now have 10 interactions. At 12, you had 7 phones, you get to 12. Now you have 66 different interactions that are happening. So there's more users, more value equals more users. So it just creates a domino effect. That is the network effect in an essence. So this is the map of the network effects. At the core, those are the network effects that are the most difficult to penetrate, you see. So network effects are used as a defense mechanism for any business. At the core is the most difficult stuff to penetrate. And on the outskirts in yellow here, you have bandwagon. So that would be hype. Things like what's been happening lately because of Corona is the people who are doing those pyramid schemes. The reason why they're popular is because what? Someone says, go there, you can make money. Go there, you can make money. Someone drops 100, they make money, they tell someone, it's a bandwagon, So it's not really going to last. Anyone can do it. In the middle is the physicals, the things that are difficult to what? To copy, like a physical type of as physical business, which you can't just replicate. And as you go further, you have protocol, things that law makes it difficult, and personal utility would maybe be your Instagram account. No one can copy your Instagram account because it is you. So they can't duplicate that. So if it shuts down, it shuts down. And then as you go further on, you get marketplace, two-sided platforms, two-sided, and then asymptotic, which is a marketplace which someone else can easily get into because it's difficult to defend, such as your Uber, right? So then you have the different ways you can defend the market: branding, embedding, and scale. So these are the defense mechanisms. A brand, a strong brand, we definitely know that about that. Scale, then use scale to grow quickly so that you can defend your market. Embedding, that's what big companies like Instagram, Facebook have done. They embed their software onto devices such as phones. This means that the moment you buy your phone, you have Facebook, Instagram, you're already in the network. Language networks, that becomes a verb such as buddy. Econet introduced buddy. What buddy did was it became synonymous with prepaid lines that everyone say, tenga buddy, even if they mean net one. That's how you become popular and the network just spills over from there. Then you have your two-sided marketplace, buyers and sellers, e.g. your eBays, Amazons. Three-sided marketplace, that's multi-sided platforms where there's buyers, sellers, developers. There's a lot happening there. So we'll go further. So here we have your two-sided, as you can see. So graphical illustration of the two-sided examples: Amazon, eBay, Tinder. You have the buyer, and as you can see on the left, you have the buyer, and who can also be a seller, and someone who can just solely be there to buy. And on the side, you have the buyers. And same thing, the buyer can be the seller. They're both crossing. So you go to eBay, you use Amazon because Amazon has all the buyers and has all the sellers. So the reason why you keep going to Amazon is because there's so many. If you're a seller, there's lots of buyers. And if you're a buyer, there's lots of sellers. That's why it becomes the de facto place to go. eBay used to be bigger than Amazon, but Amazon has grown so much It's much more valuable than eBay. Then the two-sided platform type of business, you have your Android and iOS operating systems. You have your developers, they just develop, and the user who just uses. Connect to the platform and you're into the network. Once you're in there, the developers will continue to develop on the platform because they know that what? There are users there. The users will continue going there because they know the developers making product. And that's all within Apple's what? Ecosystem. Another example is Uber. Same thing with Uber. You have, in the way you put developers, you put what? Drivers, and then you have users at the bottom. Now, when you look at Uber, with Uber, it's a bit different because Uber, anyone can get into logistics. You just need a vehicle and a couple of riders. So how Uber's network effects work is they get drivers, and by having drivers, they reduce, the more drivers they have, the reduced weight that riders have for an Uber. And then they get more riders because they have more vehicles. And then they get more money, and then they can get what? More drivers. Now, with this network effect, riders are worried about the amount of vehicles that are there because they want lower wait times and they always want an Uber available when they need it. Drivers are worried about having enough riders so that they're not spending time doing nothing. So in the event that there's not enough riders, the drivers will then have two options, because in places like the US, a driver can have a Lyft account and an Uber account. So they can switch depending on which one is busy, and Uber doesn't want that. So they need to make sure they have the optimum amount of riders. But this is the network effect. So the problem comes if you don't have enough drivers, the riders will go away. So they need to manage this balance. But the moment you have the right amount, then the network works. So how they keep it going? To harness the power of network effects and scale your business, it's important to design an effective business model in such a way that your problem creates unique and differentiated value for each set of users. So that's what Uber has done by making sure they have enough riders and enough drivers. If they have too many vehicles, your wait can only go down to a certain level. Once they get to 0-minute wait, people will miss their Ubers. So 5 minutes is okay. So they need to make sure the right amount. And what they've also done is you should also create different go-to-market strategies for each set of users to facilitate the adoption of your innovation and attract customers in different market segments. So Uber knows that they have to attract the drivers and attract the riders. So what they did with the drivers is they tell them, come and drive for Uber, you can make more money. They went to the riders and they told them, gave them free discount codes, which they then shared with their friends, and then their friends would ride on Uber for free. Uber would then pay for that. So the drivers were making money, and there were more riders. So they paid to get more riders, and you get more drivers, and it continues in that cycle, and the cycle continues. And later on, they introduced new products such as your Uber Eats and all these other products that they're trying to bring. This is to further entrench you in the Uber system so that you're in the network and it's difficult to get out. So what's the value of platform businesses? Someone else is joining. So platform businesses, 5 of the 10 most valuable companies in the world today, Apple, Alphabet, Amazon, Facebook, Microsoft, they derive much of their worth from these multi-sided platforms, which facilitate transactions or interactions between parties. Many MSPs are more valuable than companies in the same industries that provide only products or services. So let's look at this. Who are we talking about? Sorry. We're talking about FANG, the famous FANG. These 5 companies together, they have a market cap of over $6 trillion US. If you put that into context, the entire GDP of the US is 13 trillion. So it's half the US GDP amongst these 5 organizations. Facebook, initially when they started, It became popular because your friend is on Facebook, his friend is on Facebook, so you join Facebook because your friend is on Facebook. And it got nice and cute things like tagging pictures to keep you within the network. So now with Facebook, we are not only the user, but the product, which they then sell on. So you're caught up in that network. Then we create the business for Facebook, so the network just continues. And they also have now, they're getting into cryptocurrency, other ways to get you caught up in the Facebook network. Because we can add Instagram, they bought to build the network, and WhatsApp. Then we have Amazon. Amazon buying and selling. If you're in the US and you're not on Amazon, your product won't sell because everyone goes to Amazon. So the network is so big, you have to be selling on Amazon. If you don't sell that product on Amazon, Amazon will see that product and sell it for themselves. That's how big they are. As you can see, the value. Apple, the way they've done their network effects is you buy an Apple hardware device, and then let's say you buy an iPhone. On that iPhone, you use the Apple Store, you use iTunes, you're caught up in the network. It's difficult to use anything else that's not Apple, and they have you hooked. Apple Music, Apple TV, and it all derives from buying the hardware. Netflix, largest collection of movies, series, all sorts of multimedia. And then you have all the viewers from all around the world. Producers want to produce for Netflix because they know that it can be watched from anywhere around the world. And at the same time, Netflix knows that it can distribute easily. Google, the leading search engine, and now you have Google Suite everywhere. So they have you hooked on Gmail, and they have YouTube, all these products that get you caught up in the network. So these are all multi-sided platforms that are used to make sure that once you're in, it's difficult to get out because they make sure that they have a product, and you can see if you go to YouTube, all the videos are there. So if you're looking for anything, it's on YouTube, everything's there. In the Zimbabwean context, Econet, you can easily use Econet to describe this. Econet, when they first came out in the early days, it was cheaper to call Econet to Econet. So what would happen is the father of the house gets a Econet mobile, and then his wife gets Econet. The children get Econet. So everyone is now using Econet. The network is working there. So everyone is Econet, and they become reluctant to change. But with time, it now became easy to number port. So that defensibility went away. Later on, there was the emergence of EcoCash. EcoCash was Econet to Econet. That made it so if you wanted to get EcoCash, you needed to have an Econet line. So you were hooked by the network. The more people, initially people were reluctant, but as more people got onto EcoCash, more people saw that it was actually a viable way of sending money, because every time you go Kumusha, someone will say to you, can you send me money via EcoCash? And you say, I don't have EcoCash, then they wonder what's wrong with you. So you come back to Harare, you get EcoCash so that you can send Kumusha. And from there, it grew. And on every corner, there was a stand. So that's how EcoCash grew and got you into the network. Now everyone has EcoCash. It's now everywhere. It's a way of life. And then in the future, we've seen that Econet, they're always introducing new products to thereby keep us in their ecosystem using their lines. So somewhere, somehow, Econet is trying to draw money out of your pocket, even if you're not actively using them. And then another example of Zimbabwean startups. I looked at these two because we're all pretty familiar with them. If you look at Munch, how Munch started is they started onboarding of restaurants to gain traction. Once they had gained traction by having all the restaurants, they could start working on users, because now the users, if you wanted to order any food from a restaurant, you'd go to Munch. That was the go-to place. So they didn't have that many users, but when you went to a restaurant, they tell you, hey, use Munch if you want delivery to your office. And then that's how they started to grow. So they worked by making sure that supply side was sorted, and then they got the users. And then now they've expanded into delivery of other goods so that they get you hooked on the ecosystem, and you're like, okay, Munch, they've shown that they can deliver, and it's difficult to use another competitor. Then on the other side, you're Fresh in a Box, which got farmers so that they could ensure supply of the freshest produce, which is what they've done. So they have the farmers ensuring that they have the freshest produce. And we know the farmers want to sell the produce, but they don't want to haggle at the grocery store. Now they have Fresh in a Box, which is going to take it from them, from farm. They're going to take it from farm. They'll take it from farm directly to what? To consumer. And as this has started, they've started growing this business, they've expanded into delivery of other goods, you see. And as you can see, they're increasing their network. So the advice for startups is have a clear idea of who to target first. Are you going to target your users first, or will you target your suppliers? And from this diagram, you can see that a longer onboarding time increases the amount of frustrated users for your app. So less than 30 seconds, 18% frustration. More than two minutes to sign up for onboarding for your app or your product means 33%. That's 1 in 3 people become frustrated and they don't follow through to the end. So you need to make this process as seamless as possible. And you have to keep your users as engaged as possible so that the platform can grow. Once you get someone on your platform, you need to keep them on that platform, because as more people come, your platform then becomes more valuable and it grows and it can grow. So yeah, that's about it. Thank you. Yeah, if you've got questions, ask away.
Maybe the other guys, maybe they may want to unmute.
Where are they? Oh.
There's a comment from Coley
Okay,
in the chat section.
Hi, everybody. I'm so sorry I'm late. I can't even say traffic was bad because, yeah, there's no traffic. Network was bad. What I would like to, from what I heard in the past 10 seconds that I was here, is that you should know whether you are targeting your suppliers or your clients. You should start, we're all saying, yes, sure, start somewhere, but know where you're starting. If you're going to be holding both of them at the same time, you're going to drop one. So you can't be a master of everything at the same time. Must build on that.
Hello?
So, thoughts.
Hello? Yes, but finish your question. Let's see.
Sorry, I didn't get that.
I was saying, finish your question.
It's you didn't hear anything I said, right?
No, I heard you saying something about know where you're starting, and yeah, but then it cut the network.
I've a question. It was more of an add-on. Because I don't know where it started, but I'm pretty sure with the recording, I'll figure out where it started.
Okay.
But
well, yeah.
I can watch you.
Hello. Hello.
Yes.
Yeah, people too. Todzai, you don't have a question? I
was waiting for Coley.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But she seems to have dropped off. I don't know. There's another person. I think it's Vantu.
If he's got a question, he can shoot. You don't have questions. Why are you shocking me, but dude?
I'm not shocking you. I'm just waiting for the other guys.
They'll ask if you have a question and your mic is not working. You can always type in the chat. We'll check it out.
I mean, obviously, it would be just interesting maybe if you could shed more light in terms of the man story and the fresh in the box story.
Like which parts? I'm just saying that Munch, they went directly to restaurants. That was the strategy. So what they did is they tied up like all the restaurants. And then you start attacking the users, because what happens is if I introduce a new service to you, right? You look at who is there or who's using it. But if your friends are not using it, you're not really that excited. But if you look and see every restaurant that you may want to go and eat at is on that platform, then you'll be more intrigued. So that's what happened. They tied up all the restaurants initially. I think they gave them tablets or things of that nature. But they tied up all the restaurants and like, come use our platform, because the restaurants were not delivering. So once they tied up the restaurants, it became easier to get the users because they already had the restaurants. That's what I'm trying to say. So that's how you then build from there. So now when your competition comes, like let's say you start your own Munch and you want to do a similar thing, because the restaurant is open to have more than one delivery service. If you come in now, you're now competing with Munch and you're now doing all that groundwork that they've already done before you can become competitive against them. So that's what happens. Does that answer your question?
It does. And maybe another one would be like, in terms of what's this? I still remember I think I was listening to Business Wars, a podcast on Google Podcast, and they were talking about it was about the dating apps, and I think there was some clear examples in terms of the tactics that they used in terms of growing their platform. And I think for Tinder, if I remember correctly, was that they would host parties, bring a lot of people to those parties, and then they'll get using the apps. So it'd be interesting in terms of the tactics, both from, even if you're looking for those that are on a two-sided market, in terms of what specific tactics. Obviously, they focused on the restaurants first. What tactics were they signing up the restaurants? What tactics were they using in terms of getting maybe the initial client onto the platform? What tactics were they using in terms of then growing that base? And I think it's more interesting for Munch versus Fresh in the Box, though obviously Fresh in the Box is a very interesting story, in the sense that one is more of a is a recognized social media person, versus maybe the Munch team that doesn't have that kind of recognition.
Yeah, but I think Munch they just haven't been active on social media. I mean, they could have done it, I think, because they've been around. Munch has been around for 3 years now. Yeah, it's 3 years. So I don't think they're not good with their social media. Probably, I would say that. I mean, I've looked at some of their Google reviews, and people have commented, but they haven't seen some of that. So I think they struggle there. But yeah, there's no right and wrong way to tackle the beast. The idea is that you need to understand how you can make the network work in your favor. Like you're talking about the dating apps. The reason why Tinder pumps as it pumps is because wherever you are in the world, you know that if once you log on to Tinder, you're gonna find a ton of people of the opposite sex. A ton. I think Tinder is it's in the top 5 apps in terms of revenue. People paying for that because they know that with Tinder, you're gonna find more users. That's how it works. If I log on to Tinder, I'm gonna find other people who are looking for something, and vice versa. So it's just a snowball effect. So all the other guys who are there, Bumble and um, two cups and coffee and bagel, they're all trying to do the same thing, but they can't beat Tinder because everyone knows that Tinder is the go-to place. Yeah. Any more
Thanks.
questions? All right. Hey, why are you so quiet today, Tudza? Is everything okay?
I'm asking questions, one.
Only one. Nah, I'm not impressed.
I've asked a couple. I've
Yes,
asked 3.
Vantu, yes. Yes, Vantu, hi.
Good in you.
Hello?
Yes, I'm good in you.
I'm good, man. What's your question?
I'd like to know how you guys have been handling the issue of B2B marketing.
B2B marketing.
Yeah.
Okay, that wasn't really what we were talking about, but I can see how we can assist. What about B2B marketing?
What tactics can I employ in order to push up the issue about B2B marketing?
What service are you trying to sell?
I'm trying to say content marketing.
You're trying to sell what?
Content marketing solutions.
Content marketing, like newsletters and
Yeah,
what type of content?
basically we do graphics and text.
You want,
Written text and
you want,
graphics.
you want graphics and text?
Hello?
Yeah?
Yes, that's the content that we are currently distributing.
Okay, you said graphics and text.
Yeah.
You've spoken to a few businesses. You've got a portfolio.
Indeed.
So I would suggest definitely you have to have an online portfolio,
Okay.
which you then share with the marketing managers of whatever business you're looking to market to. And
Okay.
then start looking at newsletters. So you can do potential newsletters for businesses that are looking to send something out. And then what you do is you look at some of the ads that come out in the newspapers and check which advertising agencies represent which big companies you want to deal with. Then you know who you can actually speak to and who you can't, because if they go through an agency, it's difficult. Like there's a company, I think it's VPCG, they deal with Old Mutual. Usually when they get into these contracts, it's a 2-year or 3-year contract. So for you to get in there, you won't be able to get in there until what? The contract is over.
Okay.
So try and see who's doing ads and who doesn't, and who's the marketing agency, and then also look at smaller businesses as well that don't have marketing agencies. Those are the easiest ones to infiltrate.
All right.
You always need to keep a portfolio. That's what I can say.
Okay. Now I appreciate it.
Maybe I could just come in.
Yeah, sure.
I think Vantu, you have to look at it from a baby steps perspective. If you're walking into a firm, maybe picking up on what Simba said in terms of depending on how you pitch to a big firm, to a small firm, to a small medium, to an SME, or to a sole proprietor, it's quite different.
Yeah.
And again, the question is, what is the value addition that you're providing? If I was you, maybe what I'll do is like, because me, I'm a small business. You come to me and say like, look, boss, this is the impact of what. Obviously, understand the business before you actually pitch to them, because sometimes people just come in and pitch. But anyways, you still have those calling options. But it's to pitch showing value, because if you just pitch saying that I can do content marketing for you, at the end of the day, what will entice a person is how much dollars or how much revenue, extra revenue, can you generate. So for example, you come to me and say, look, boss, if you do this, take the solution from me, I expect your revenues to jump up by 20%. I expect your revenues to jump up by 30%. Maybe what you could do is that you could give me an opportunity for maybe, let's say, for the next month or so, I'll do this thing for you for free. You'll see the impact. What I'd ask from you is that maybe you can refer me to 5 or 10 of your clients after you've seen the impact, and you take it from there.
All right. I'm taking down the notes, right?
No problem.
Okay.
Any more questions? Any more? Because this thing is going to switch off just now. All right. There's no more questions, then I think that's good night. If you need any more information, you can drop me a text or an email. Yeah, we'll see you next time. Yeah, enjoy the rest of your evening and your weekends. Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
Cheers, man.
Cheers.
Dr. Dix.